And all this time here to give you a little perspective here, because you really need it all. And trust me, you're going to have to write this all down sooner or later because it's the way the timelines work. So let's find out a little bit more. Let's welcome in the Vice President of Business and Culture from the Media Research Center, who's been watching this passion play roll out. Dan Gainor joins MidPoint. Dan, thanks so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Dan, we just went through this tremendous length of dates here. And if you look at the dates, from when Sonasoft was involved to when the computers crashed to when things disappeared, Dan, I have to be honest, if I'm looking at this completely impartial here, there's no doubt that something's gone wrong here. There's no doubt that something is amiss and that something is being covered up or shoved under the carpet. How can anybody think otherwise?
Well, certainly the media seem not to be focusing on it. One of the downsides of American media is that they tend to have a blind eye when it comes to liberal scandals. And I don't think there's a person in America who thinks that these emails just magically disappeared or accidentally disappeared. I think everybody knows, even some people in the media have noticed it, but it's the study, their analysis is ephemeral. It's here and it's gone. John King was laughing about the other day from CNN. He's talking about it, but by and large, it's still not a story because network people have convinced themselves that it's not.
When you look at that, and when you look at network people convincing themselves that this is not a story, is there any other way to look at this? And again, I've been in this business a long, long time, and I ask questions from both sides of the aisle here. But if you continue to look at that, is there any other takeaway, if you're a viewer, if you're a member of the American voting public, that there are members of the media covering this up, being part of what is actually a cover-up of impropriety?
Well, I mean, you have no choice but to look at it as say that they're not doing their job. They're not doing due diligence.
Well, but wait a minute. Not doing their job is one thing. Not doing their job is one thing, perhaps. But simply glossing over at every single turn and saying there's nothing to see here. It's that old cartoon. Move along, people. Nothing to see here. That's egregiously wrong. That's.
Oh yeah, and it's a violation.
I can't even begin to start thinking of the words of it here.
Yeah, if you look at the Society of Professional Journalists ethical code, it's a they violate that on a regular basis. There's no attempt to do good journalism in this except for a few people. And then if you go back and look at the history of what happened here, not just on some of the things that even the print outlets will talk about, but if you look at the influence of George Soros on all this, some of the top groups involved, go back to 2010, two groups were pushing for this, pushing Congress to push the IRS to investigate these groups. They were two Soros-funded groups. Democracy 21 was one of them. And then fast forward to recently, and of course, IRS commissioner is talking to another Center for Public Integrity, another one of these George Soros-funded operations, gotten more than $3 million from Soros people. And what he's telling them is he's promising to take this the next step, promising to crack down on 501c4, the sort of political nonprofits. Why would they do that? Because by CPI's own reporting, that form is used 5-to-1 by Republicans over Democrats.
I got about 30 seconds left here, so let's ask a very pointed question. If this goes the entire route, if indeed there is a full investigation and an honest investigation, is there any doubt whatsoever that we will find that there is a massive cover-up involved in this, and the media itself, some members of the media, are going to have to answer for their part in it?
Well, I mean, if we got to actually find the smoking gun emails, if they really exist, I think what you'll find is that I think a lot of journalists know that this is going on, and they're not reporting it. Will we be able to prove that they did it? That's a good question. Be
able to prove whether or not the journalists were involved.
Yeah, exactly.
But certainly from an era of journalism where you're not actually practicing journalism, we can certainly go there.
Sadly, we moved into that era some time ago.
Don't worry about it. There are some of us trying to save it every single day, Dan. We're doing our job right here. Don't sweat it. Dan, thanks a lot for taking a couple of minutes to join us. We'll visit again.
Thank you. You can count on it.
All right. Look, I'm not telling anybody anything that you don't already know. There is a side out there that says nothing to see here. There's a side out there that says something to see here. You get to make the call now on exactly whether or not there is something to see here. I don't need my glasses on for this one. Tell us what you think, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Because here on MidPoint, every day, we question everything.